do it better than me, then you do it. You can do it better than me, then you do it. You can do it better than me, then you can do it better than me, then you do it.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy T back with another one. And today I want to talk about something different. I usually talk about men and women. I mean, I hit some political subjects and some random subjects sometimes, but I mainly try to do the dating thing just because I be passionate on it, just the divide between women and men, what women do to men, what men do to women. I'm a guy, so I mainly speak from a guy's point of view, and what is perceived in society, how the government backs up the women, how like nobody's really on the guy's side, and then vice versa. You have Me Too, you have MGTOW. Either way, there's always some kind of paradigm. There's always a left and right to some kind of situation. But what I will say is this. Today, I want to talk about something that I think is a little bit more real, and that is colonization, whatever you want to talk about it. However you want to, whatever you want to call it. Back in the day, how Christopher Columbus apparently discovered America. Back in the day when Rome went into Africa and so the Middle East and stuff like that. Back in the day when Germany basically took over damn near half of Europe. Back in the day when Stalin, expanded the USSR to pretty much what it is still today. People go in. Back in the day, even the Great Wall of China was built to prevent the Mongols from getting in, and the Huns. I think that colonialization in 2019 is different than colonialization in any era before like 1700s, 1600s. That you literally was expanding on land, and it was just an ego trip back in the day. And I'm pretty sure, by that definition, it's probably the same thing today. But I feel like today, everywhere's been colonized already. There's already countries pretty much everywhere that we know of. Every continent's been explored except for Antarctica that we know of. Every bit of land has been occupied by some governing, entity. But now we have this thing called the United States. Our ideas, and don't get me wrong, I love where I live. I love America. I wouldn't say it's the land of the free, but it's pretty much, the most free that you can be mentally, if you think about it, depending on the opportunities that's given to you compared to other countries. That's I guess, in a nutshell, how I would define America. So I still love it at the end of the day. However, what I don't like is the fact that America has been slipping, as I said, in school grades. I just, came out with a video the other day about the education system. Our military might is still number one, but other countries are catching up. Our finances, even though as high as it is, we're still owned by basically China. Russia and China is kind of pairing up together. Even the UK is like, you know what, dude, where the money at? So we're still a colony, even though we're independent. We celebrate it every year, July 4th. The motherland is still England at the end of the day, and that's still apparent today. It's obvious. The United Kingdom is still who they are to us. That's never changed. What I don't understand is why we go into countries and we say, quote unquote, we go in there to spread democracy. We go over there, we destroy their towns, we rape their women. Well, this is alleged. I'm not going to say that this is really what's happening, but let's be real, we're not perfect human beings. So that means people in the army and the military aren't perfect human beings. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do things that, that's a society within itself, just like the America is. The military society is you spend 4 years there. It's like going to college and coming home every 90 days. You're just, once you serve, you come back home for a little bit, you go back. That's your home. So that's your society. There's going to be good people. There's people that's discharged. There's honorable discharge. There's so many different things that can happen to a person in the army. So they're not perfect people either. And at the end of the day, why I'm saying this is because, there's a lot of people that have this idea that, and it's painted by the narrative on the news and, media and stuff like that, that, they, people just hate us because we're us. No, that's not it at all. In fact, most of the times they hate us because of what happened to them in the past. When they grew up, they saw their mom and dad get shot or something like that, and they swear revenge. Look, Batman's whole idea, the reason why he became Batman is because his mom and dad was shot after the movie theater. And he became Batman to make sure that never happened to anybody else. And somewhere in media, he became this guy who will do anything but kill to get what he wants. So he'll beat a guy to the point where he has brain damage, but he's still alive and he got what he wants. Does that make it right that now the guy can never walk and he's a potato for the rest of his life just because he's alive? No. Same thing with this. You can't expect a person to really sit there and watch their parents get murdered or raped and all this stuff and not have a vendetta against the country that did it, the people that wear that flag. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not the soldiers' fault either. The soldiers are just obeying orders. It's not their fault. It's like a bank having a system set in place that's there to rob people, and the employees at the ground level are just doing what they're taught and trained to do. They don't know that the system is designed to rob. They just know, hey, I'm going to take your money, I'm going to put it in this safety deposit account, and you're going to get it whenever you need it. But the higher ups really know what the system is about. It's just, you can't blame the employees just like you can't blame the soldiers. But for me, why I'm bringing this up is because America has problems of their own. We trying to build a wall right now, but we got half our troops overseas. You know what wouldn't need? You know why we wouldn't need a wall? If our troops was over here, we wouldn't need a wall. If our aircraft carriers were over here, we wouldn't need a wall. Don't get me wrong. I feel like having the military here, home, I'm more of a defensive person. I used to play football, in video games. I'm always building up my base. I'm never really going out. I'm just keeping everything contained and making sure that my whatever, my base or whatever is impenetrable. That's the kind of person I am. Now, they always say the offense is the best defense. However, they always say defense wins games. You understand? So, fine. If offense wins the best defense, but defense wins games, I think I'm going to worry about my defense first. And then if anything, if that is okay, then I'll go on the attack. But then again, I just said it's 2019. Who are we attacking and why? Now, a lot of people believe we go into certain countries to give them democracy because of oil, the petrodollar, or he's a dictator to his people, or you know how many dictators there are out there? Remember Coney in 2012? Remember Darfur in like 94? Why we ain't go in then? And Sierra Leone. Why we ain't go in then and take and go after the dictator or the war criminal or these and that and the third? You know why? Because we benefit from the diamonds that we wear. So don't give me this nonsense that we go in to take these dictators. No, it's not. It's an underlining thing, and maybe it is the oil. Maybe it's a control. I always tell you, look at where the money goes, and that'll tell you everything about what's going on. You understand? Look at where the money goes. That'll tell you everything what's going on. At the end of the day, colonialization to me is a poor excuse to show that you're a bully. And I think what we do, we're bullying. We're bullying. We have police going on a rampage and being stigmatized by the media, because let's be real, it's not all police, it's a select few, and they only publicize the ones where police are shooting black guys. Police are shooting white guys too. I don't know the statistics, but at the same time, I guarantee you it may not be as high, for black people, because that's obvious. Like, black people are oppressed in this country. It is what it is. We just have a lot more opportunities than we had before, but we're still mentally oppressed. But at the same time, That stigma comes from society and the media. But I guarantee you, cops is probably doing the same thing to every race out there. That's just what they portray. But then there's also great cops. There's good cops. There's fair cops. And there's one that just want a paycheck. Doing just enough to get a paycheck. Just like the guy who was scared to go around the corner. Somebody jumped out and didn't mean to do anything and he blasted him. And now, the guy's dead. Listen, I guarantee you if the military was over here, now we have somebody to police the cops. You feel me? We have state, we have federal. Federal would be the military. State would be the cops. Now, you want to know who's policing the police? The military. And, well, you want to know, well, that's a recipe for a military state. You're right. But at the end of the day, we already have one. It's called a SWAT team. There's no reason, to arm, cops with military gear. For what? Like, I'm not saying criminals don't have Uzis and all this nonsense, and it's crazy. Like, we're definitely, the NRA is definitely putting up a fight to keep, weapons on the streets and stuff like that. And I'm not saying they're keeping it on the street, but let's be real, who makes weapons? Military, the government. And how does it get into the hands of the street person? Well, obviously there's systems put in place for it to eventually get there criminally. But there's got to be a chain of command. These guys aren't robbing the government. How are they getting it? Just like how drugs got in the street and it's been proven that the CIA flooded the streets with drugs back in the 80s. Who knows? Maybe that's just today what they do in the 90s, and we find out 40 years later that the CIA put guns in the streets to keep whatever mission is going. I'm not saying this is fact. I'm just saying these things are hypothetical, but it's very probable as well. And colonialization for me is if you bring our troops home, we're going to have less countries hate us. And we focus on us more than we focus on developing another country, then we're not going to have as many homeless people. If we focus on us more than we focus on other countries, then we're probably going to have a better economy. If we focus more on us than focus on other countries, we're not going to send our factories and stuff to overseas just so we can save $1. We're not going to be able to put our headquarters in Bermuda so we could not be taxed by America based on their standards. You got to understand, there's plenty of loopholes, and the reason there are loopholes is because the government allows it. The government allows these loopholes to go on. So now while the richest keep staying rich, or getting richer as they say, and the poor stays poor, or getting poorer as they say, it's because we worry about another country's pocket, economy, situation quicker than we worry about our own. Pull back the troops completely, bring their asses home, let them be safe for a while, and if anybody wants to come over and bomb us and do all this stuff, we got the military right here already. We got the Coast Guard working with us. Now, you over here saying I'm going to shut down the government, this, that, and the third. You know why? Because we don't have the military here to protect the borders. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that, people coming over the border is not a problem, or it is. At the end of the day, they taking the jobs that we don't like anyway. MS-13 is not the only gang in the United States, so please stop bringing that up. They still got the Bloods, they still got the Crips. Remember in the 90s, people didn't even want to wear blue and red just because you were associated with whatever. Come on, there's always some kind of fad, Latin Kings, and all. Come on, stop it. Don't bring up MS-13. Get out of here. What I'm going to say is that colonialization does not need to happen anymore. We don't need to put democracy in these countries. If they want to be communists and all that nonsense, let that happen over there. Let that happen over there. Once they come our way, we're prepared. We got the greatest military force on the earth, but yet we keep importing made from China, made from China, made from China. Put the factories back over here. Pay the people what they earn. The rich, listen, stop being so damn greedy. I understand you're feeding your kids, but keep the factories here. Make sure the economy's booming, and we ain't never got to worry about it. Remember we were supposed to build a Star Wars program back in the day? Where if anybody shoots lasers at us, we could just blast it out the sky? So then, you feel me? Why do we need to be in these other countries, changing their laws, changing their religions, changing their ways of life because we, want to be nosy. We want to get in everybody's business. Now, don't get me wrong. If it's publicized and they come to us for help and say, hey, can you help us? Then maybe we could take it upon ourselves to go in there and in just that country and just that situation, take out the guy and then leave. We don't have to stay there and make sure it changes to democracy. Fine. But there's no reason that in 2001 this war started. Forget that. Basically, we've been in the Middle East since Desert Conflict Storm. You know what I mean? Desert Storm, we've been there since Desert Storm. There's no reason for us to have been there. When was that? Like 91, 92, 93? Maybe even before that. So let's just say it's 92. Well, how many years is that? What, 26 years? Is it 26 years? Yeah. 26 years that we've been overseas in other countries trying to change what. Yo, if you ain't changed the countries in 26 years, we not changing them. Come back home. Pearl Harbor happened because we wasn't here. We wasn't here. So please, 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 I'm telling you, bring back our aircraft carriers, put them on the borders of the United States. There's no reason to have them overseas. Bring back our soldiers, divide, our troops by 50 and put them in each state. You understand? Now, it's trained, armed, and men. They live civilian lives, but then anytime something happens, they're on a call to be ready. So they're not, maybe the discipline of for 4 years is good. So maybe they need to be on an army base, but they're still living lives. They still do their training, but they're living amongst the civilians. They're regular people. They're not risking their lives. And once we get that call to action, if another country says, hey, we need help, or if somebody tries to come into our country and maybe 9/11 would have been prevented if our airways had our own planes in it. Seeing a fighter jet in the sky should probably not be a rare thing. It should probably be an everyday thing, so we know that we're safe. Now, hey, the government can use that power and turn it into a military state. Hey, that's another conversation. But at the same time, bring our people home. Fix America. Let it go back to what it was many years ago. I'm not going to say the phrase, make America great again. I said it, but whatever. But it's true. Not because we're making America great again in terms of quote unquote white supremacy, but literally, let's make it the country that everybody wants to live in again. Yo, it's your boy T. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what y'all think. If y'all agree, if y'all disagree, start the conversation down below. Go to Instagram, start the dialogue over there, start the argument. Do you think colonialization is necessary nowadays? I guarantee that's not the question that I asked before, but still, that's what I'm basically asking. Is colonialization necessary in 2019? I'll see you later. Peace.